Tice Madox Solicitors is results-oriented, but with a distinctive approach tailored to our clients' needs in our specialist fields: immigration law, criminal law, employment law, commercial law, family law, and contracts law. We are well equipped in our litigation and advocacy for the benefit of our clients, corporates, and individuals. Why not visit us at 5 Oakfield House, Oakfield Road, Ilford, London, IG1 1EF. We are just 15 minutes from Liverpool Street Station. Tice Madox Solicitors. Try us. We are professional.
Hello, I am Justice Maduforo. I'm your solicitor, your preferred solicitor, and on this program, Tice Madox Solicitors, your preferred firm. This program has brought very exciting topics to you, and some of you have been richly informed that kickstarts you to take action. Remember that the purpose of this program is not legal advice, but to kickstart your consciousness to take proper legal advice and get the right information. Right information is key. It liberates you. It's cost effective. It makes you and directs you to get a result instantly. And you are less stressed with the right information. That is why this program comes your way. So that if it doesn't apply to you, it applies to your friends and families. I have discussed on this program immigration laws, I've discussed family laws, I've discussed criminal laws, I've discussed family laws, I've discussed contract laws, I've discussed all areas of litigation. And by the way, this firm is also legal aid franchise in criminal matters, which means we will represent you in your best interest from the police station all the way to the Magistrates Court, to the Crown Court, to the High Court for any appeal, to the Court of Appeal, to the Supreme Court, and even to the European Court of Justice if need be. And you are protected and you are funded by the legal aid. That is in criminal matters all over England and Wales. What you just need is to take the telephone number on the screen and key it into your phone. You certainly will need us, trust me. And on that basis, I would say do not ever go to the police station, either voluntarily or upon arrest, to talk to the police officers without calling Tice Madox Solicitors first. Tell them that you have a solicitor and give them the number. Give them the telephone number to call us. Give them the firm, Tice Madox Solicitors. They will call us. The custody sergeant there, or the police officer knows the drill. He knows the position. But don't get talked away. Don't allow the police officer to tell you, don't worry, come on, this is a simple thing, I want to talk to you. You don't really need a solicitor. Don't ever do that. Don't ever do that. You know why? They just want you to talk to them, admit it, because at that point, you have no more check and balance. So they're talking to you directly, and because you don't know the drill, and they have felt so nice to you at that point, they're talking to you nicely, they offer you a cup of tea and the rest of them. You lose your guard. You admit allegation. They say, no, we're not getting further. The next day you receive a letter. The next moment you are arrested. The next moment you're charged. And you know, after that moment, you don't know this officer anymore. He backs up from the case and is now dealt with by the Crown prosecutor. No more contact with him. So it's important for you to understand this drill. And that's why these informations are key, so that you don't go to the police station or go to any place the police officer have invited you to come, or any agency whatsoever, government-regulated agency, BEDWP, HMRC, anytime they call you for in discussion or interview under caution, whether in the police station or elsewhere, you know the best thing to do. Tice Madox Solicitors will be there to sort you out. Now, I have discussed all these areas. Therefore, whatever I discuss in this program, they're not legal advice. But therefore, you must not take action on what you hear me speak on this program or any of my discussants. All our programs are on YouTube. You can go check us out on YouTube after watching this program, or wherever platform you're watching it. We are there on YouTube. This program also airs on our Twitter handle, which you can see on the screen. And you can also follow us on Instagram and our Twitter handle as well. Our Facebook is there as well. So all this program are there for you, so that if you didn't catch it up on Believe TV here, you're watching it on other platforms, you can also tune into other platforms to get the real information that we're passing through to start your consciousness. Remember, whatever I say here, they are not legal advice. So therefore, the idea and the purpose is for you to kickstart your consciousness and come to Tice Madox Solicitors, and we give you tailor-made advice, tailor-made representation in your best interest, cost-effective and at the same time affordable for you. Now, today I'll be talking on immigration. And from the program you can see on YouTube, you see other topics I've discussed as well. I am a seasoned solicitor. I'm a seasoned barrister at the same time. So you have two views in one. Means advise you, represent you Advocacy is our key and our strength areas. In all areas you're going to, just follow our lead. Follow our lead when we advise you, because we are advising you appropriately, because we are taking all circumstances into consideration and then advising you on the law, the statutes, the case laws, and any relevant directions or guidances which will assist your case. When your case has a good case, we'll project it out. When the case needs to be propped up and to balance it properly well to create a good case for you, either a claim in the county court or a defense in the magistrate court or in the crown court for any criminal matter, or employment matters. For instance, in your disciplinary matter where you receive a letter for disciplinary hearing, you don't just go there straight away. Prepare your case, or you're raising a complaint against your employer or against your fellow employee to your employer. You don't just write what you feel. Remember, you're running with emotion and you will not be filling in the issues. Tice Madox Solicitors will narrow down the issues that are straightforward. Deal with it with full evidence as required. You may not even need to go to the employment tribunal because you will achieve your purpose right there straight away. That's what Tice Madox Solicitors will do for you when you come to us. Today I'm discussing on immigration. My topic today will be Home Office wrong decisions. Home Office wrong decisions. Now, why did I choose this topic to discuss today? Because as I said, I'm a practitioner in the field and I see this. Home Office are saddled with the responsibility to safeguard the internal security of the United Kingdom. And not just that as well, also including immigration, in respect to those who come, those who stay, and those who live here. So Home Office has a lot and a humongous responsibility saddled with it by law to protect the sovereignty of the United Kingdom and also the internal dealings with the police and the rest of them. Now, part of them is immigration. And what do? They are saddled with responsibility to make decisions on your applications, as you all know. Now, the question here is that the Home Office themselves have policies. The government that controls the Home Office have policies. The government in power, at the moment, the Tories, they have their own plans. And the plans in respect to immigration. And one of them is what? To make sure they reduce what? They reduce immigration. And the reduction of immigration does not necessarily mean to stop people coming legally into the country, but also to remove those who are already here, or to rather reduce the applications, the grants for those who are here, who are making applications. And now these things may not be so obvious to you, who is a commoner, who is an outsider. You may not be able to know, you may not be privy to the decisions and to the guidances and to the proposals and to the plans in respect to reducing immigration. And part of them is to be much more scrutinizing now on applications they receive. No, even if they will not shut you down for making an application, irrespective of how stupid the application is or how nonsense application you make it is, but if you go lodge these things yourselves, you can see that Home Office will receive your application and get the money, because definitely every application will come with a fee paid. And once you pay these fees, they receive them. And when they receive them, they are bound to consider your application. And when they consider application, the most important thing is decision. Decision-making process is a very huge process these days with the Home Office. And so they are taking their time. And most of you will also realize that most applications are delayed because Home Office are taking the time to make sure the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted before you receive a decision. In making such decisions, Home Office themselves are also throwing to the wind certain regulations and certain procedure. And when they do that, they open themselves up for an appeal. Or sometimes they shut you down on appeal, which means that you cannot even appeal any further. Or in other circumstances, they will give you right of appeal, but ask you to return to your country to make the decision, to make the application or make the appeal to return back. Which means that you've been deprived to appeal here while you're in the UK, but to return to your country. Or they may make a decision whereby the decision does not even in any way give you right of appeal at all whatsoever. Which means that in that point in time, you only got to resort to judicial review. Now, judicial review is a different process entirely and a cumbersome process for that matter. And so before you take that process, some of you just go and submit application and just send it to the judicial review process. You just don't need to do that. That's the reason why you have division of labor for those who are doctors, those who are lawyers, those who are architects, those who are tradesmen, those who are plumbers, those who are engineers, heating engineers. They all have their own responsibilities. There's certain things you cannot do. Electricians, as simple as fixing electric bulb is, it may end up blowing up your house if you do it yourself. That's correct. At the end of the day, what you're saving $150 for an electrician, you end up spending $150,000 or even more if you don't have no insurance to fix up that electrical misconnection that you've done. Not just that, The same thing applies to medical and health. So you self-admit medications on yourself. It has catastrophe. It has consequences. It is catastrophic when it goes wrong, which means you resort back to the doctors. And it might be late then. It may not be too early. It may not be too early for you. Life may be saved. Life may not be saved. Or even it may be permanent damage to the part of the body because you have self-medicated for a long time. And so it has its consequences. The same thing applies to legal. You continue to do it yourself. You continue to apply that yourself. You continue to make that application yourself. You fail to realize that in the process of doing that, you are not following the procedures, the civil rule procedures. You're not following the criminal procedural rules. You're not following the immigration procedural rules. You're not following them. You're not following the status that making the application. You're not dealing with the issues. Even when you're dealing with the issues, you're talking on emotions. The Home Office do not know who you are. What they're looking at is the application that you make. The application fall within the required rules of the law. Your argument makes sense for them to think twice and see where you're going to and see that it's important that they grant you this application. And they will grant it because you've made the right argument, you made the right application, you touched on the right point. So the decision will not be a refusal, but will be a grant. Now, the Home Office certainly at times refuse this, which is why I say there are wrong decisions. Sometimes the caseworkers of the Home Office are not really too sound. And you don't blame them. There are certain times there's a lot of work on them to do. Some of them may not be able to really sift through or read through properly. And in that process, they make a decision, a quick decision. And so those decisions may not really all go well and in line with the requirement, which means they have now erred. They have now deviated from the right decision they ought to make, which is a grant of that application, and they've made a decision which is definitely to refuse your application. Sometimes it's understandable when they make these decisions, either because you, the applicant, have done the wrong thing. You've done the wrong thing, but you're doing the right thing though. You're doing the right application though, but you're making it the wrong way. And so as a result of that, it will be easy for them to refuse, which means that if you have properly organized your decision application, Home Office will not make the decision to refuse because they will clearly know that you have argued properly. Tice Madox Solicitors will take time to really prepare your case. Preparation is everything, you know. Preparation is everything. And don't make no mistake about that. Preparation is everything. Preparation again is everything. In legal matters, preparation is everything. You cannot substitute it with anything. You cannot substitute it and say you're in a haste. And sometimes some of you don't even know that your leave to remain is expiring. Some of you just wake up and say, hang on, you have in your mind that you're expiring in so date. You haven't really cross-checked. And it's actually in your hand. And at the end of the day, you find out, oh my God, it's actually tomorrow. Then you begin to hurry. In such process, you have thrown away preparation. And in such hurry, you have thrown away preparation. And so you, in the quest to meet the deadline before it expires, you have now lodged an application that will now result in a decision. Again, wrong decision to refuse you. Not that your application was wrong, but because you have put in and argued wrongly, application is refused. Now it's classed as Home Office wrong decisions. So whatever it is, we may have right of appeal, which will now take you to a long process to now appeal, waiting times which you have to endure because waiting time to appeal these days is huge. And you wait for those periods for your case to be listed for hearing. It takes a process of time. The day is listed in court. We get to court, and some of you know your case is fixed on floating list, not even fixed in a particular courtroom because your case is not prepared to be heard today. You're put on floating list. And at the same time, the court will not get close to you dealing with your appeal, and your matter is adjourned again. So those processes, you don't want to go through a torturous moment. Now, neither in immigration application, nor in other aspects of law. So when I talk about Home Office wrong decisions today, it also may mean other decisions of the statutory bodies, organizations, saddled with responsibility to make a decisions. If they get it wrong, now obviously the process you always have in mind is to appeal. Now, the purpose of bringing this information to you is not just for you to go through Home Office wrong decisions. The purpose and the underlying and underpinning purpose of this discussion I'm having to you today is to inform you that you do not need to wait until you get a wrong decision from the Home Office or from any other party whatsoever. In your employment matter, for instance, you don't want to wait till then, or those in family matters. You don't want to then until you go to the family court to get a child arrangement order or whatever, things you're looking for. Things could be done at early stages to save you a whole lot of stress. Tice Madox Solicitors are there Our foundations we lay in your case are prerequisites for success. And so you must take advantage of it. You must take advantage of it. You definitely must take advantage of it. You cannot say you don't know. If you say you don't know, which means it's what is called, is a self-denial. Which you have denied yourself of the possibility or the practicability of success. So you denied yourself that. So you cannot say you're not aware of it. So you got to understand that. Because you can't tell me watching this program right now that you have no legal issues. You have no legal need. You do. You do. You certainly do. If not you, it is your brothers, sisters, it's your family, it's your wife, it's your partner. If not, it's your college. If not, it's your university. If it's not, if it's your employment. If it's not, it's your housing. If it's not, it's your credit card. If it's not, if it's all one thing or the other. So you need that legal advice as you get along, especially on complex matters. On complex matters, some of you will look at complex matters because you do not really want to expend expenditure on it or consult with lawyers like us who will guide you through. Remember, the purpose of this is to sip and to divide and to separate Tice Madox Solicitors from others, which means that you come to the right firm that will do the right thing for you. You separate it from the others. So you don't want to have the same bad experience you had in previous firms you've attended before, and some of you don't have good experiences there, especially in terms of results. In terms of results, you don't have good experiences. And so you want to get a good experience. So you look at these and say, oh wow, same solicitors. No, you need to demarcate and differentiate and keep a gap as to what you differentiate on when you talk about solicitors. There are different solicitors. Tice Madox Solicitors is one of those solicitors that are absolutely on point to represent you in your interests. And success is always our watchword. And it's guaranteed. It's guaranteed. It's guaranteed when we advise you. When we advise you from the beginning. From the beginning, I say that again. From the beginning. But perhaps, peradventure, you have done already with someone else from the beginning, but you can still return home. You can still return to where you will be properly advised. We'll be very happy to sit down and also go through stage by stage you've gone through and provide the best solution for you. But these processes in law are sometimes slow, but you need to exercise patience. Some of you are not patient enough. When you go through legal matters, you have to wear the cloth of patience. If you are patient enough, you will reap the end result. Because, trust me, Tice Madox Solicitors will want to quickly snap a finger and get you a decision that is successful when you walk away. But because, number one, we are guided by the rules, procedures, timetable of other people which we don't control. Like the court, the Home Office, for instance, they take their time. The terms of timing of the decisions, timing of the allocation of cases, timing of the appeals, timing of whatever the Home Office is doing, or timing of asylum cases, assuming some of you going through asylum to seek asylum, they have done the first stage of the asylum interview, which is a first screening. This next one, some of you wait a long period to be given date for the interview. This is predominantly the responsibility of the Home Office when they deem fit on the time to fix you to come for the interview. Or also the caseworker in that application when they deem fit to make a decision. Some of them are quick though, some of them are really slow. And whatever the cause of that, we will not know. It's either because of a lot of whole of work they are dealing with, so they class their cases according to the priorities. And so your case may not fall into the priority at the stage, which means it takes the back seat until when they're ready to come there and then they deal with it. But let me tell you, the purpose of this is that anytime they decide to come to that application, it's a grant. Why? Because we have fused in yesterday, now, and the future informations in that application. So when you have fused this all in one, assuming you didn't make that decision today, it takes them another month, 2 months, 3 months. I can tell you because we prepare application futuristically, and they will still catch up to the fact that the decision is a grant, whether they decide it today or not. So take advantage of that. No one walks to Tice Madox Solicitors to make an application for them and walks out knowing fully well the application has not been granted. Knowing fully well the application has not been worked on and given 100% of legal effort. No one does that. No one does that. So this telecast or this program is to kickstart your consciousness. Number one, you can see the firm, you have human feeling, human contact, first of all. The human contact are not just programs and running on generic adverts. No, we are talking to the principal now of Tice Madox Solicitors. You're talking to me. So anybody that works your case in my firm, I work my case for you, or your case for by myself, you'll be sure and guaranteed of a proper analysis and presentation of your job. Now, when Home Office make that decision, I would know that it's a wrong decision. Assuming peradventure they make a decision, or in any event, they make a decision to refuse, then you know that some of the decisions the Home Office makes at times are wrong decisions. Let me tell you, without just speaking theoretically here, let me give you a very practical example here. Now, I had a client of mine who went to one of the firms prior to coming to Tice Madox Solicitors. So he made an application under the EEA, which is the EU application, and that application was refused as a spouse of an EU. That application was refused. Now, that's very important because EU applications, especially those of you who have married your EU spouse and your EU spouse has now, both of you have married your EU spouse, but along the line, your EU spouse has now divorced you and you have divorced your EU spouse within the period. The question will be, what will be the position that you're going to be in when you're applying either for your permanent residence and going forward? This is where the problem comes in, ladies and gentlemen. And as a result of that, some of you have a difficulty to really bridge the gap or to make an application reasonable. So this particular person came to my office, having gone through elsewhere to make applications. The application failed. Now, because his application failed, he was looking for an alternative now. He was completely handicapped on how to rectify himself. So on that basis, he came to the firm. And he came across this telecast and then came to the office. And I sat down through with him and went through the application because that was his last option. His application, he married an EU national, and along the line, he went through all that. I took time and dissected all that. So he now decided to shift his matter back to the firm. So I took up the case and then I advised him and said, we got to restructure and make a fresh application now because the decision they made was wrong for you. That was a wrong decision. And whoever that represented him did not argue that, but simply because sometimes you may be entitled to permanent, they give you 5-year residence. Sometimes you're entitled to indefinite, they give you discretionary leave. Sometimes you're entitled to certain settlement, they give you 2.5 discretion. You're entitled to, under the certain 5-year rule, they give you 10-year rule. That is wrong. Some of you are sitting on that. You don't need to wait on that simply because, oh, at least I have leave to remain. Don't do that because consequences are in future, which you don't know. Remember, this firm is futuristic. We don't just look at now. We look in the future. So by the time you just say, okay, at least I have a leave to remain now, let me just carry on with that. Don't do that. Don't do that because consequences are there for you. And by then it'll be too late. And by the time you begin to raise it and begin to complain, remember, the court will be, you have not made such application. You have not notified the Home Office. It's not notifying them by writing letters. Some of you do that a lot because you sit down and complete letters and write to the Home Office. They don't consider just letters. So I sat down and said to him, your choice. We make a fresh application now, and this 5-year route they gave you was wrong. Because what that means is that you have divorced your family member already. Your family spouse you have divorced you. So you're no longer a family member to that extent. And they gave you a residence card, which is wrong. It's a wrong decision. So if you carry on with the 5 years, by the time you're due to now 5 years expiring, or you're accustomed to the Home Office at anywhere, and they ask you about where is your spouse, you say, oh, we're divorced. At that point in time, you walking out thinking that you have 5-year route, you have 5 years residence card, you have nothing because it could easily be stripped off from you because your EU national has divorced you. So with that, I explained this to this guy and I said, we got to do that and restructure it back again. To me, I'm seeing permanent residence. He was initially didn't believe that. He was hesitant, said, I have 5 years, I'm happy with that. That's your choice. So having said that, I say, I am telling you this, you could have permanent residence. And, he mustered the courage and said, let me go on with it. You see, when you take the courage to follow Tice Madox Solicitors, you're following the people that know the way. You're following the firm that understands and can lead you through the pathways. So this application was lodged and we went through the application. Guess what? I can tell you this, as of just within 2 months, decision was granted. The Home Office reversed themselves from the wrong application decision they made before. They reversed themselves and now granted my client permanent residence. And he's all over the place jubilating. And I'm so proud of that. And I'm so happy for him. he's permanently settled in the UK. You see, don't look at the £1 or £2 you're going to spend to rectify yourself. And you say, let me carry on as I'm doing this way. Because remember, there's a day of reckoning. The time you didn't expect it more. That's a time probably you be accustomed. That's probably time you are now fixed. That's probably time you cannot make any headway. Some of you are working in a company. Maybe you're trying to travel and the company is sending you out of the UK. You cannot travel because your visa, even though you have it, it has some really, really skirmishes behind it. It has some really irregularities behind it. You need to rectify these things. And so it's stopping you from reaching your sky. It's stopping you from expanding your horizon, expanding your profession. So you need to stop there. So home office decisions, wrong decisions, needs to be questioned, needs to be rectified, needs to be dealt with. So if you don't do that, you'll find yourself in really serious problem. And I'm telling you that truth. You find yourself in really big difficulties. But before you get there, remember, when Tice Madox Solicitors do this application for you, we are not even expecting the wrong decision. Because you know what? We will project your case. We will expand your case. We will enhance your case. We will zoom in your case. We will blow up your case so that the home office caseworker will not at any point in time think that it's mistaken. No. You see? Because if you see a properly prepared case, even when you're sleeping, you will know the right decision to make. That's what Tice Madox will do for you. That's what I will do for you. Not only will I make your application, I will argue your case in court. You have two in one. You don't need to go elsewhere. Everything in one place for you, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a pleasure discussing this matter with you. You really know I don't have all the time. I wish I could go on and on and on and on. I'm a solicitor, I'm also a barrister. You know, words are my key. Words are my tools. So I could go on and on and on, but time is a constraint here. But I will direct you to go to our YouTube page, Tice Madox Solicitors on YouTube. Go to add us on Facebook, Tice Madox Solicitors. Go add us on Twitter, it's on the screen, at Tice_Madox. Also Instagram, Tice Madox Solicitors, and follow some of our tweets and some of our updates and photographs and things we put out there to kickstart legal issues for you so that you will be able to be abreast on legal matters, on contract matters you're about to sign, so you know the proper place to go seek advice before you do that. Ladies and gentlemen, I remain your favorite solicitor, Justice Maduforo, and this firm, Tice Madox Solicitors, that you will have the right advice you need at any point in time you require, especially relating to discussion I just made today, which is that of home office wrong decisions. And as I tell you, such wrong decisions, we will either appeal them, rectify them. Sometimes we don't need to go on appeal on just expenses. We have other options to turn that decision for your favor. Remember, everything is for your favor and in your interest. Till I come your way next time again, I remain Justice Maduforo, and God bless you.
Tice Madox Solicitors is results-oriented, but with a distinctive approach tailored to our clients' needs in our specialist fields: immigration law, criminal law, employment law, commercial law, family law, and contracts law. Why not visit us at 5 Oakfield House, Oakfield Road, Ilford, London, IG1 1EF. We are just 15 minutes from Liverpool Street Station. Tice Madox Solicitors. Try us. We are professional.